Have you ever noticed how often it happens? Like clockwork, you wake up around 3 a.m. You glance at the time, sigh, and wonder why your body won't let you rest. And the strange part? No one really gives you a satisfying answer. Doctors might say it's just part of aging or blame it on stress or medication, but deep down you know there's more to it. Something they're not saying. Because this quiet moment, in the middle of the night, when the world is fast asleep and you're suddenly wide awake, it's not random, it's not meaningless, it's actually one of the most revealing moments of your life. And today, we're going to talk about why. This is about more than sleep. It's about your body's hidden rhythms, your mind's deeper messages, and the strange wisdom that often shows up when the rest of the world goes dark. So let's begin by looking at what's happening inside you. You've probably heard about something called your circadian rhythm, your internal clock. It regulates your sleep and wake cycles. But what most people don't realize is that this clock changes dramatically as you age. Your body starts producing less melatonin, the sleep hormone, and less cortisol regulation in the morning. That shift often causes people over 60 to go to sleep earlier and wake up earlier too. But waking up at 3 a.m. isn't just about melatonin. There's something much more mysterious at work. Think about it. Why 3 a.m. specifically? Why not 1 or 5? It turns out that in traditional Chinese medicine, 3 a.m. is associated with the liver, the organ responsible for detoxification, for processing emotions, and for storing unresolved stress. When your liver is overburdened, either physically or emotionally, it tends to wake the body during this hour. Now, you might not believe in Eastern medicine, but take a moment to consider the symbolism. The liver is about cleansing, about dealing with the weight we carry. And at 3 a.m. you're alone with those weights. The world is silent, and suddenly your mind starts going places. You think about old regrets, people you've lost, things you wish you'd said. It's like your soul chooses this time to speak. It's not a malfunction, it's a message. As we age, we accumulate not just years, but emotional weight. Life changes. You might be retired now or widowed. Maybe your children have moved away. You've gone from being needed constantly to suddenly having long, quiet days. And in that quiet, things rise to the surface. During the day, distractions keep these thoughts at bay. But at 3 a.m., your brain has no filters. The stillness becomes a mirror, reflecting everything you've avoided thinking about. And so, you wake up. And here's what doctors don't tell you. Your brain doesn't stop processing during sleep. In fact, your subconscious becomes more active. And for many people, aging brings a subtle form of anxiety. Not fear, exactly, but unease. About health, about purpose, about time. And that unease often shows up right between 2 and 4 a.m., when your body is in its lightest, most sensitive sleep phase. This is why sleep becomes fragmented as you get older. You're more likely to drift into shallow sleep, more sensitive to light, sound, or temperature. A little creak in the hallway, a cold breeze, or even an aching joint can pull you right out of sleep. And once you're up, your mind races. But there's more. Let's talk about blood sugar. What most people don't realize is that nighttime blood sugar dips are a common cause of early waking. Especially in older adults, blood sugar regulation gets weaker. If you ate dinner early or had a carb-heavy meal with little protein, your blood sugar might crash in the middle of the night. And when that happens, your body releases adrenaline and cortisol, just enough to wake you up. It's not a panic attack. It's your body's survival system kicking in, trying to balance itself. That's why sometimes you wake up with your heart racing or feel a bit sweaty. It's not a dream, it's chemistry. So yes, the reasons are physical, emotional, even spiritual. But waking up at 3 a.m. isn't a curse. In fact, it can be a gift. Because in that silence, you have a rare opportunity. No noise, no emails, no demands. Just your own thoughts, your own breath, your own heartbeat. This is where you can learn to listen, not just to your body, but to your soul. But let's not be too mystical. You also want solutions, right? You want to sleep through the night or at least feel rested when you wake up. Start with your evening routine. Most people underestimate the power of what you do an hour before bed. Are you watching loud news? Scrolling on your phone? Drinking alcohol? All of these confuse your body's rhythm. Instead, create a gentle wind down. Dim the lights. play calming music, read something peaceful, and avoid large meals too close to bedtime. If you find yourself waking from low blood sugar, try a small protein-rich snack before bed. A spoon of almond butter, a slice of turkey, a piece of cheese with whole grain crackers. These can help keep your glucose levels steady through the night. And if you wake up at 3 a.m., don't panic. Don't grab your phone. Don't stare at the ceiling in frustration. Instead, welcome it. Sit up slowly, breathe, maybe even write. Some of the world's greatest thinkers, like Benjamin Franklin and Nikola Tesla, used that early morning wakefulness as creative time. They didn't fight it, they flowed with it. You don't have to do anything, just accept it. Because the truth is, the more you fight it, the harder it becomes to fall back asleep. Also, talk to your doctor about medications. Some blood pressure and antidepressant medications can interfere with sleep stages. You may not need to stop them, but a small adjustment in timing or dosage can make a big difference. Check your sleep environment too. Is your bedroom cool, quiet, and dark? Older adults often become more sensitive to heat, sound, and even bedding texture. A few small changes, like blackout curtains, white noise, or a more comfortable pillow, can reduce those small disturbances that wake you. And let's not forget your bladder. One of the most common reasons people wake at 3 a.m. is the need to urinate. But if it happens every night, consider limiting fluids an hour or two before bed, or speaking to your doctor about bladder health. But even with all these strategies, the most important shift is how you think about these moments. You're not broken. You're not doing anything wrong. Waking up at 3 a.m. doesn't mean your body is failing. It means your body is alive. It's trying to tell you something. Maybe it needs stillness. Maybe it needs peace. Maybe it needs you to let go of something heavy you've been carrying for years. Because sometimes, waking up at 3 a.m. is your soul's way of saying, let's talk. This stage of life is full of transitions, and with every transition comes discomfort, but also wisdom. You have more insight now, more perspective, and maybe this quiet hour is your invitation to use it. So next time you find yourself wide awake, remember, this isn't an interruption, it's a moment, one that's asking for your attention. Don't resist it. Embrace it. Breathe into it. And when you finally drift back to sleep, you may find it deeper, richer, more restful than before. Not because you forced it, but because you understood it. You see, sleep isn't about control, it's about trust. Trust in your body, trust in your journey, trust in the idea that even at 3 a.m. you're exactly where you're meant to be. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, looked at the clock and sighed when you saw it was 3 a.m. again? It's not just once in a while. For many people over 60, it's almost like clockwork. You drift off just fine, but somewhere in the deep quiet of the night your eyes open, and suddenly you're awake, wide awake. No noise, no movement, just you, the dark, and the stillness. And here's the strange part. Doctors don't really talk about this. They might say it's just aging, or a shift in your sleep cycle. But if you're like most people, that explanation doesn't really help. Because it's not just about the time, it's about what that moment feels like. That strange sense of alertness. The thoughts that start circling in your mind, the memories that come back, the quiet ache of something missing. It's not just a broken sleep pattern. It's something deeper. There's actually a quiet truth that rarely gets spoken aloud. Waking up at 3 a.m. isn't always a problem to fix. Sometimes it's a signal, a message, a calling from within. As we get older, our bodies go through real changes. Hormones shift, melatonin levels drop, and yes, we tend to sleep lighter. But something else happens too. Our lives start to slow down just enough for the mind to finally be heard. During the day, we're busy, running errands, talking to family, filling time with TV, noise, or little routines. But at night, there's nowhere to hide. And 3 a.m. is the hour of honesty. This is when your soul taps you on the shoulder and says, "We need to talk." It's the time when your unresolved thoughts come up, regrets you've buried, feelings you haven't processed, or even just a deep craving to understand your purpose now that so many things have changed. Your job, your family role, your body, even your friendships. You might not realize it, but this wake-up call might be your inner self trying to speak. In ancient times, 3 a.m. was known as the hour of the soul. Monks would rise to pray, to reflect, to listen, not because they couldn't sleep, but because they chose that hour for its silence. There's something about that time when the world is still, the distractions are gone, and we are left with ourselves. Not the busy self, not the parent, the grandparent, the partner. Just you. And you know what? That's not a bad thing. What if you stopped seeing 3 a.m. as the enemy and started seeing it as an invitation? Because here's the thing, this waking up could actually be a chance, a doorway, a moment of presence in a world that rushes by too fast. Maybe you're not supposed to immediately fall back asleep. Maybe you're supposed to listen, breathe, and let yourself feel, without judgment, without noise, without distraction. You don't have to sit up and meditate or write in a journal if that's not your thing. Just breathe. Just sit with yourself. Ask, what am I feeling right now? Not what am I thinking, but what am I feeling? What needs my attention? Sometimes it's grief that never found a voice. Sometimes it's a decision you keep putting off. Sometimes it's simply your body saying, slow down, be with me. And if you really listen, you might notice something miraculous. That stillness becomes comfort. That quiet becomes clarity. That moment that once felt lonely starts to feel sacred. Of course, there are practical steps too. You can keep your bedroom cool, avoid heavy meals late at night, or limit screen time before bed. But those tips only scratch the surface, because this isn't just a physical issue. It's emotional, it's spiritual. It's about allowing yourself to exist without always having to do. When we're younger, we define ourselves by what we accomplish. We wake up early, we hustle, we build. But as we age, something changes. Life asks us to become more than our achievements. It asks us to reflect, to deepen, to notice the moments between the moments, and oddly enough, that shift often begins at 3 in the morning. Maybe your body isn't broken. Maybe your spirit is finally being heard. Waking up at night also gives you the opportunity to reconnect with yourself in a way you rarely do during the day. There's no pressure, no performance, no one to impress, just you and the quiet truth of who you are. And in that stillness, you can ask the real questions. Am I living how I want to live? What brings me peace now, not 20 years ago, not 10 years from now, but now? It's also a powerful reminder that rest isn't only physical. Emotional rest, mental rest, and spiritual rest are just as important. And sometimes we need to wake up to realize what kind of rest we're truly craving. You might be surprised to find that after a few minutes of accepting that wakefulness, rather than fighting it, you begin to feel calm, peaceful even. Your mind slows, your body settles, and when you finally lay back down, you fall asleep, not because you forced yourself to, but because you've released the tension that was keeping you up. And if you don't fall asleep right away, that's okay too. You're still resting, you're still healing, you're still honoring yourself in a world that rarely gives permission to pause. It's time we reframe what sleep is supposed to look like. Not everyone needs a perfect 8 hours. Not every night needs to be undisturbed. Sometimes what seems like a problem is actually a doorway to something greater, a deeper understanding of who you are becoming. This stage of life isn't about going faster. It's about going deeper, listening more closely, living more intentionally. And sometimes the deepest moments arrive not when everything's going according to plan, but when life gently interrupts you at 3 a.m. and says, this is your moment. You see, you're not broken. You're evolving. Your rhythms are changing to match the deeper wisdom you carry now. Don't resist it. Embrace it. Let it teach you something new about who you are. So the next time you wake up in that still darkness, don't roll over frustrated. Sit up, breathe, smile, even just a little. You've been given a rare gift: time, silence, space, and the chance to hear the voice that's been waiting inside you all along. That voice? It's not trying to disturb you. It's trying to guide you home. You see, sleep isn't about control. It's about trust. Trust in your body, trust in your journey, Trust in the idea that even at 3 a.m. you're exactly where you're meant to be.